A few years ago, DNA testing became a global obsession. What started as a quirky trend, people spitting into tubes to uncover their ancestry, grew into a phenomenon with over 26 million tests taken annually by 2025. For most, it was a fun diversion, a chance to boast about a sliver of Viking heritage or confirm a family legend. But for others, the results revealed truths they never saw coming. Molly Sinnott, a 36-year-old woman from Florida, was one of those people. When she took a DNA test in March 2025, she expected a glimpse into her roots. Instead, she unearthed a connection that would change her life forever. Molly lived a contented life with her husband and adoptive parents in a sunny Tampa suburb. Adopted as a baby from South Korea in 1985, she'd arrived at the airport to a new family who cherished her. She grew up surrounded by love, with memories of a tabby cat named Whiskers and a flair for bold hairstyles that turned heads at school dances. Her adoptive parents, her blonde-haired mother especially, were her world. She rarely thought about her birth family across the ocean, satisfied with the life she'd been given. But as she approached her late 30s, curiosity about her health crept in. What if her biological lineage carried hidden risks? The DNA testing craze was impossible to ignore, so she ordered a kit, expecting answers about hereditary conditions, not a family reunion. Miles away in Pennsylvania, another story was unfolding. Emily Bushnell, also 36, lived with her 12-year-old daughter Isabel in a cozy Pittsburgh apartment. Like Molly, Emily had been adopted as a baby from South Korea in 1985. Raised by a single adoptive mother, she'd built a quiet, happy life, complete with a black cat named Shadow and a knack for quirky fashion that Isabel loved to tease her about. Emily had little interest in her birth family, her adoptive mother was enough, until Isabel, ever the curious preteen, begged her to take a DNA test. "What if we have cousins out there, Mom? Or grandparents?" Isabel pleaded, her eyes wide with hope. Emily resisted at first, uneasy about dredging up the past, but her daughter's enthusiasm won her over. They mailed off their samples together, laughing about what they might find. Weeks later, Molly sat at her kitchen table, staring at her DNA results on her laptop. The health report was unremarkable. No red flags, just a clean bill of genetic luck. But something else caught her eye. A close family match with a 25% DNA overlap, labeled as a possible niece or nephew. The name attached was Isabel Bushnell, a 12-year-old girl from Pennsylvania. Molly frowned. She'd never had children, never even been pregnant. Her family was her adoptive parents and her husband, none of whom had ties to the U.S. beyond her adoption. "This has to be a mistake," she muttered, refreshing the page as if the numbers would change. She contacted the testing company, but they confirmed the match was accurate. A 25% match meant a close relative, an aunt, uncle, or half-sibling. But how? Meanwhile, Emily and Isabel received their own shock. Isabel's results showed the same 25% match with Molly Sinnott. "Mom, who's this lady?" Isabel asked, pointing at the screen. Emily's stomach dropped. She'd assumed her biological family was an ocean away, not in Florida. Isabel, however, was thrilled. "Maybe she's your sister or something. We have to find out." Emily wasn't so sure. She'd spent her life avoiding these questions, content in her small world. But Isabel's excitement was infectious, and soon they were drafting a message to Molly through the testing platform. The first exchange was cautious. "Hi, I'm Molly. I got a match with Isabel. I was adopted from South Korea in 1985. Any chance we're related?" Emily's reply was equally tentative. "Hi, Molly. I'm Emily, Isabel's mom. I was adopted from South Korea, too, same year. This is wild." They swapped basic details, birth dates, adoption stories, and the pieces began to fall into place. Both were born on March 29, 1985, in Seoul. Both had been adopted shortly after birth, one to Florida, the other to Pennsylvania. "Could we be twins?" Molly typed, her hands trembling. Emily's response was a single word: maybe. A phone call followed, their voices shaky with disbelief. "I've never had a sister," Molly said, laughing nervously. "Me neither," Emily replied, "but Isabel's your match, not mine. How does that work?" They dug deeper, consulting a genetic counselor. The explanation was simple, yet staggering. Molly and Emily were identical twins, sharing nearly 100% of their DNA. Isabel, as Emily's daughter, shared about 25% with Molly, her aunt, enough for the test to flag a close familial tie. The initial confusion about Molly being Isabel's mother stemmed from a misreading of the raw data. But the truth was even more astonishing. Twins, separated at birth, had lived parallel lives without knowing it. The similarities piled up. Both had cats growing up, Whiskers and Shadow. Both loved bold hairstyles, even choosing nearly identical updos for their senior photos. "It's like we've been living the same life in different places," Emily said, her voice catching. Molly agreed, tears welling up. "I came here for health answers, not a sister, but I'm so glad I found you." They decided to meet in person, resisting the urge to FaceTime. "I want the first time I see your face to be real," Molly insisted. Emily laughed. "Deal." A month later, on a crisp April day, they met at a park halfway between their homes in Maryland. Isabel bounded ahead, spotting Molly first. "She looks just like you, Mom," she squealed. When Molly and Emily locked eyes, time seemed to stop. Same dark hair, same warm smile, only their height differed, Molly half an inch taller, a detail they'd later tease each other about. "Happy belated birthday," Molly said, her voice breaking as they hugged. 36 years late," Emily replied, laughing through tears. Isabel joined in, wrapping her arms around her newfound aunt. "I wanted more family, and I got the best surprise." Their families, stunned but overjoyed, rallied around them. Molly's adoptive parents marveled at the odds, while Emily's mother welcomed Molly like a second daughter. The twins learned that such separations weren't uncommon in international adoptions from the 1980s, though few siblings ever reunited. 1 in a million, the genetic counselor had said. For Molly and Emily, it was the happiest 1,000,000-to-1 shot imaginable. They spent hours catching up, swapping stories of childhood pets and fashion triumphs. "I can't believe we both had cats," Emily said, shaking her head. "And those hairstyles," Molly added, pulling up an old photo on her phone. They vowed to make up for lost time, planning holidays together and joking about their newfound twin quirks. Isabel, beaming, declared, "This is better than any cousin."